Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Balanced Business Coach. My name is Toni Robinson, and I am a life coach for leaders. I help individuals and teams overcome burnout symptoms so that they can create more balance in the whole of their life in order to create more impact on their workplaces that they serve. Today, I am joined by Kiley Houck. She is a diet shedding coach. Yes, you heard that right, diet shedding. I was mind blown when I first heard this term. You are going to absolutely love her. We had such a fun and dynamic conversation about how food impacts your burnout symptoms, how to be more mindful about eating, and overall the impact that food has on the lives that we lead. So, I want to start with a little background on Kiley just so you can get the lowdown of who she is, what her background is, and then we'll get into the full interview. So, Kiley Houck is your go to diet shedding coach. She's the founder of Kiley's Health Haven. With a passion for helping stressed women break free from the clutches of diet culture, Kiley empowers her clients to forge a new relationship with food. Her journey into health and wellness is backed by a rich history in counseling combined with her own experiences with navigating the complex world of nutrition and self-care. Kiley has dedicated her career to debunking the myths of restrictive diets, instead focusing on sustainable, mindful eating practices that promote a balanced and fulfilling lifestyle. We love balance. In her coaching, Kiley addresses the often overlooked connection between our food choices and our emotional well-being. She advocates for compassionate, non-judgmental outlook on eating and encourages her clients to listen to their bodies and find joy in nourishment. Beyond her coaching, Kiley is an avid hiker and nature lover. Can't wait to go hiking with you, Kiley. Promoting the healing power of connecting with ourselves and the environment around us. So, without further ado, thank you so much for being here today, and let's get into it. Welcome, Kiley. I want to start with diet shedding because that term blew my mind. Like when I saw, I think I commented on something and I was just like, what? Like I've never heard anything like it. And it just, I don't know. I just want to hear more about it, how you came up with that, where it came from. Like, give me the background on that.
Yeah, so diet shedding was actually something that I just kind of came up with in my entire thought process of, okay, I'm in diet culture, I'm consumed by it, and I don't want to be a participant in this lifestyle anymore. I don't want to be in this realm, the society. And I was like, I just need to like shed this skin. It was like I felt like a snake and I just had this layer on me that just had to go. It wasn't meant for me. I was outgrowing it. And I was like, okay, shedding, diet shedding. Everybody wants to cut and shed fat. Maybe I can kind of use that word to highlight people's interest and attention because mindful eating, it's not sexy. People want a diet. They want the quick fix. They want whatever is going to provide them with like the newest thing.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to find a way to make it enticing. And when I started saying diet shedding coach, I was like, I can really vibe with this. This just
Yeah.
sounds like something that encompasses so much more than just leaving diet culture. It sounds like you're redefining you and finding your new skin.
Yeah. Where were you before finding, or like, I guess, what was going on in your life? What were your diet habits before coming into this, like, I need to shed this mentality?
So originally, before I even started dieting, I had a terrible relationship with food. I just was always using it as a coping skill anytime I was stressed, burnout, sad, depressed, anxious, anything. I was constantly just shoveling food into my mouth as some kind of support system.
Yeah.
And so I dove into dieting because I realized I was 198 pounds when I got pictures back from my best friend's wedding where I was the maid of honor, and I didn't recognize myself in the pictures. I literally looked at them and I was like, I don't, oh my God, oh my God. Like I didn't even notice that that was me.
Yeah.
And so I dove into every single diet I could find. I was cutting calories, intermittent fasting. I was trying to do the macros for a little bit, but I was a vegetarian at that point. So protein was really hard for me. So restriction and labeling and cutting out everything and going as organic as possible, as healthy as possible was my entire eating pattern. If it didn't have natural ingredients, it wasn't touching my stomach.
Yeah. Oof. So eventually then you got to the point where you were like, I can't operate this way
Mhm.
anymore. And that's what led you into the diet shedding.
Oh yeah, so I I remember two distinct moments. One was with that PB Fit powder, not even real peanut butter, but the
Yeah.
powder. I was in the middle of intermittent fasting and it was late at night. I was meal prepping for the next day and I couldn't even lick the spoon before I put it into my sink. I was just so, I can't even consider having these extra 5 calories that I had to throw it at my sink in tears. And then a couple weeks later, I was measuring spinach and like removing a piece of spinach, just a leaf, for my scale to hit perfectly. And I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, these are not even unhealthy labeled foods. And
Right.
I'm still freaking out. I'm still having all of these restrictions and guidelines. And so I just kind of threw up my hands and I was like, I'm done. I can't. I don't know how to function like this. I'm exhausted. And when I let go, the relief that came over me was something I hadn't experienced in years.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to let go of it. And I was like, okay, it's the awareness. I'm understanding what's happening. And I've never connected or appreciated or accepted my body like this and what it was trying to tell me before. I need to keep going with this. What else is there? And mindful eating sprung from that.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad I found you for many reasons. One, because I think this is going to be really helpful for anybody who hears this, but also because I feel like in the last several years, I think after COVID, like I have found myself being super hard on myself about my body. And I I have a son. He's 8, and I feel like I'm harder on my body now than I was like right after I had him. And I think a lot of moms are like, they want to bounce back, they want to get their bodies, and I was like, I wanted that, and I would work out or, try to eat well at that time, but I didn't feel like how you said you didn't recognize yourself. And it's funny because I also went to a friend's wedding a couple of years ago. My son and I were in it, and I took a picture with my son, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, why do your
Yeah.
arms look like that? When did we get this way? And so I'm excited to dive into your work more and learn from you more, because I think anyone, but especially me, could really use more of that, like, mindful eating rather than just like trying to do what everybody says and follow all the trends and things. So I really appreciate you and what you're doing.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate that so much because I think you speak for a lot of women. I mean, everyone. I feel like a lot of people are really consumed by social media and
Yeah.
these ideas or this role that they're supposed to fit into because this is beautiful now. And quotes, it's the ideal. And we get so lost in trying to conform to someone else's idea of beauty that we don't really even know what ours is anymore. And I think that that happens with food, with our profession, with our passion, with our hobbies. It happens in so many different areas. And the pictures, they really capture more because you
Yeah.
can see it in our eyes almost. It's like we are just so empty.
Yeah. 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 It's like the energy is just not there. You don't have the same like glow to you. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah. You can tell something's just missing.
Yeah. And I'm not a mom, but I can say that a lot of women that I do have or I do work with that have kids,
Yeah.
they also have that role model piece where they just want to be showcasing something that is something their child can build from and use in their life as an adult. And
Yeah.
that's really hard too. Like that is so I can imagine how stressful that is.
No, that's a really good point because my son, he's like, I swear, there is no child on this earth that was more meant for me than he. Like, he is just perfect in every way for like our dynamic. But like I'll take him to the gym with me sometimes, or like there's been, moments where I'm like, okay, no more candy, sir. Like that is enough. This is not healthy for you, whatever. And I've heard him say things like, "Mom, is this healthy for me? Like, should I be eating this?" And I think this is making me reflect on like what am I projecting onto him? What am I putting in his head that is making him start to like worry about? I don't think he necessarily worries about his body, but just like, is this like good for me to eat? And maybe that's a good thing, but just the way I'm talking about it that comes with like the anxiety of like, you can't do this. Cause my mom, like, I remember going to the grocery store and she would buy me like Snickers candy bars at a and I can't like they used to be big, right? Like the Snickers bars used to be like this big. I don't even know if they still have them that big in the stores. Like I only see the little mini ones now, but
Mhm.
they used to be huge and we would eat them like on our way home from the grocery store. That's what we would like have for a snack. And I just cannot even fathom like eating that much of a candy bar anymore. It sounds like awful to me,
Yeah.
but I'm like, man, I I didn't have any of that, like, this is what, healthy food looks like, or this is better for your body, or this is better for your energy, or stuff like that. So I feel like diets were the only, like, way for me to know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you hit the nail on the head with that. We aren't told what is going to help us. We're told how to navigate the problem. We're not like prepared to keep the problem from even happening. We don't know how to just live our life and blend into things that are more positive and more natural. We're just already like, okay, this is going to be a problem in our future. We'll deal with it then.
Right.
And then we're trying to build back from such a low area. And we don't have to be doing that. Like you can start with your children, you can start with your next meal, with any new beginning. Like you have the opportunity to make that shift, but we just don't want to because we want the result and then we want to deal with the problem later.
Yeah. Well, it's comfort and what's easy
Mm-hmm.
now. Like we're busy people, we're burnout people. We don't want to have to like think about it. So,
And dieting actually, it causes us more mental exhaustion than it would to just eat normally, to
yeah.
just have that relationship with food that isn't overbearing and consuming every single aspect of our life. And this like mental load that we put on ourselves to, okay, can I eat this? What time is it? Is right now okay? Is this going to give me energy? Is this going to fit with my macros later? I can't touch this because that has a bad label. I mean, no wonder we're so burnt out and exhausted. We can't shut our minds off. We can't breathe.
And we don't trust ourselves. Like that's
Mm,
really what I hear you saying is like everybody wants the answers from diet culture or whatever it is. Like everybody wants the answers to be given to them because we don't trust ourselves or we don't take the time to just listen. Like stop your thoughts and just like hear what your body has to say. Like shut it all off.
yes.
So,
And the trust is so, it's unlearned at a certain age too, because when we're kids and our parents are like, you need to finish your plate before you can have dessert, we're already learning to tune out what our hunger signals are saying. And then it's causing that lack of trust. And when we can't trust ourselves to just stay in tune with what's right for us, and we're like, okay, if you tell me what to eat, I'll eat it, but it's not in alignment with us or what we truly want or what we're really craving. So we'll eat it for a short amount of time, but is that really a long term
yeah.
success? Can we do that forever?
Whew.
Big things.
Right. Oh my gosh. I want to go back to the social work thing and I want to know how that kind of led you here, how that's contributed.
Yeah, so being a social worker, I mean, I think anyone in the service industry is kind of in the spot to get burnout really heavy, really fast. And that was like a huge thing. The turnover rate in social work was massive. And it was told to me in every single job I took. And I did that for 5 years. And the more I did it, even every single time I changed my focus in my profession. So I did addictions, I did mental health counseling, I did school based therapy, I did foster care, and I did crisis intervention for domestic violence and sexual assault. And every time it just, yeah, it lays a layer of more burden, of more anxiety, depression that you take home if you can't leave it at the door.
Right.
And while it was absolutely my passion, I loved every bit of it. It was not something I ever escaped because in my home life, in my personal life, I was struggling with my own mental health. My relationships were not solid. I didn't have very much support. Everything was just, I was surrounded by toxicity and I didn't know how to cope or to get out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that contributed a lot to my weight gain because when I was younger, I was super athletic. I was maybe like 120 pounds if we're caring about the numbers, but I was just really in shape, always doing sports. And I lost that when I stopped doing sports, when I didn't have my outlet.
Yeah.
So I think burden like that, that burnout is really heavy when we don't have our hobbies, when we don't have something outside of our work. And so I dove into diet culture almost as a hobby while I was in social work because it was a release. It
Yeah.
was something that I could do where I could lift the weights or run for miles and just not have to think about anything.
Yeah.
And so eventually I was at my lowest weight and I was still a social worker and I was still unhappy. I had no fulfillment from anything I was doing. And I was just mentally, physically, and emotionally dying.
Yeah.
And I just uprooted my entire life. I left the profession. I broke up with my long term boyfriend a month before he was about to move in. And I just sat on my floor, ready for my house to be taken because I wasn't going to be able to afford my mortgage anymore. And was like, I have to figure out what I'm going to do. And I managed a gym for a little bit. I went to Fidelity Investments and got into finance. And these things were so interesting and important to me, but they didn't fill me like social work did because I wasn't helping a lot of people.
Right.
And it was just in a different way. And
Right.
so I found coaching and I was like, oh my gosh, like coaching is literally me telling people how I changed my mindset because when I left social work and I broke up with my boyfriend, I was like, I need to reconnect with myself. That was that let go moment where I just released and found relief. And I could show people that this was possible, but in a way that actually uses all of my background in social work and my master's and teach people that there is another option, but through empathy and positive psychology and strengths based perspective. And it flooded a whole new opportunity for me.
Wow. Okay.
That was long.
So how long ago was that you got or that you left there and kind of made the transition?
So in 2021 is when I left social work. That was when I had reached my 65-pound weight loss and was like, I'm done with everything, can't
Yeah.
do it. And 2022 was when I went over to managing a gym. And then I did that, I think, God, not for very many months because they do not care about you at all.
Yeah.
And then Fidelity was 2022 to 2023. And then I found coaching in 2023. So I haven't really been doing this for too long, but it's building very quickly.
Yeah, no, I can tell. I mean, you're killing it. So keep it up. I mean, I can't
Thank you.
wait to see where it takes you, but that's amazing. And I mean, everything that you learned in all of those different areas really can help the people that you're going to be working with now. Like I feel like in my line of work, yeah, I focus on career and burnout, but like when we're feeling bad about a certain area of our life, we're often struggling in other areas as well. So, like, if someone's struggling with the diet piece, like they may be struggling with finances as well, and you have that little background to pull from. I think that's super cool. So, all of those little things.
Yeah, jack of all trades. My
Yeah.
mom and dad bought me a toolkit when I was really young, and I like carried it everywhere. And I just love the fact that I have like all of these tools to do whatever I need. And
Yeah.
so I made actually a newsletter that goes out every Tuesday, and it's called Toolkit Tuesday,
I
because
love
it's just
that.
like we all have all of these things inside of us that can help us navigate no matter what it is. And
Yeah.
it usually all correlates. It's just that sometimes we need to dig because the wrench is under the hammer. I don't know.
Yeah. So good. So good. Okay, so I want to talk about um, how does food impact our symptoms of burnout? That is like something that you mentioned in the comment of one of my posts, and I was just like, whoa, I've never even thought about that being a
Yeah.
factor. I mean, I know that like food impacts my energy, but I just have never considered like this is progressing or
Mm,
contributing to me being burned out. Because a lot of people like they just want to drink more coffee, more sugar when they are feeling like that, I don't know, lack of energy or just like how can I motivate myself? So it makes so much sense, but I just would love to hear your perspective on this because I've never thought about it in that way.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad that you brought up the energy factor because that's something that I definitely want to talk about. But like, I guess just burnout as a whole, obviously we characterize it as like emotional exhaustion, a reduce in our performance. We have like this sense of detachment from a lot of things, and our diet habits, our eating behaviors, the way that we look at food and how we perceive it, it all has a connection. And I think first, like with those energy factors, the food that we choose will impact the energy levels that we have throughout the day. So the people that are going to the coffee and the sugar, having those like high processed foods with low nutritional value, those are going to lead to our spikes and our crashes and our blood sugar. And that's going to enhance those feelings of fatigue. And then we're going to become really irritable or really stressed. And those are both symptoms of burnout.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to literally feed the problem
Right.
by adding to it with more problems, but it's just that quick fix, that sexy, this is a solution, so I don't have to deal with it right now, put it
Yeah.
on the back burner.
Yeah.
And when you have a balanced diet, if you're like more with rich whole foods and you're getting steady sources of energy, then your mood is going to stabilize and you're going to have a lot more resilience. So when stress does come up, that burnout is starting to trickle in, you're going to know how to cope with it because you're already on this balanced line rather than fluctuating up and down so much because of what you're eating on top of your burnout.
Resilience is such a good word. I've been like, I don't know, I feel like that's my word this week. It's been coming up
Yeah.
so much for me lately, but yeah, resilience is huge because when you I guess when you have no resilience or little resilience, everything pushes you down and everything is like the end of the world and everything is just like, oh, I'm giving up. And it's like, no, we have to have enough resilience and energy to be able to combat the things that we're going through, to be able to listen to ourselves and sit down and decide, okay, I'm not going to have this person that's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to take the time to be mindful and think about what I'm eating. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you said earlier that it takes a lot more brain power to have to like do the macros and think about all of these things, but we really like struggle with being mindful and like taking the
Mm-hmm.
time to meditate or do something for ourselves. Why?
I think it's easier to not be mindful, to not take care of ourselves. And I think it's because we don't want to know ourselves.
Mm,
I think it goes a lot back to the trust piece that the further we detach from ourselves, the easier it is to not have to deal with our problems. There's a lot of emotional connection with food specifically, which is what I look at, but with everything that we do, like our mood, the way we think and feel, our belief system, that all or nothing mindset you were just talking about, it all plays such a heavy role into our actions, what we decide that we're going to do. And I think that if we can look at life as emotions are trying to tell us something, just like our hunger cues, just like those burnout symptoms, if we can decide to listen to them and see that they're not trying to hurt us or harm us, they're trying to help us grow to become more resilient, then we can change anything.
Yeah.
We have so much power and we are limiting ourselves because it's easier that way. If we blame someone else, we make excuses, we just continue to put everything off to the side, then we can just keep navigating and think that we're being successful, but really we're just stuck. We're just complacent to how it's been. And I think you even talked about that a little bit earlier. It's comfortable
Yeah.
to not have to do anything. It's comfortable to be in that unknown or in that fear and that hard of, well, dieting is really hard and it's scary to stop because what if I gain weight? What if I don't know how to listen to my hunger? What if I don't know what to eat? But it's also scary being comfortable because you know what you're doing and you know it's not leading you anywhere. So it's
Yeah.
like, pick your scary. What would you rather deal with?
100%. I was just gonna say pick your hard, but I like the pick your
Yes.
scary too. But it is like either one. It's like you are either going to live this life that you absolutely hate and it's going to be hard. Like it's going to be hard to look at yourself in that picture and be like, who is that girl? Or like it's going to be hard to have your kids, running around and you can barely keep up with them because your energy is just like out the window, or you're completely burnt out and on the couch and like scrolling on social media because you just can't right now. Like that is just as hard as it is to like change your mindset, change the way. And then when you get on the other side of that, though, like it's easy. It
Mm-hmm.
becomes so much easier. It becomes so much more beautiful. Like once you free yourself of like needing validation from people, needing somebody to tell you what to do, it's like, oh my gosh, why have I been like so worried all this time? Like I can just live and be in my own like body and make my own choices and do my own thing, and I feel so much happier. I feel so much more energetic. I feel so much better. But we don't want to take the steps. It goes back to what you were saying. Like it's easier now, but later that hard will be harder because you're going to have the health problems, or like, things come up, whatever it is. But whew, yes, all of the things you just said. So good. So good.
Just yes, I love it.
Yes. Clapping.
Yep.
Um, so when it comes to diet, you mentioned, well, I was looking through, I think you're something on your website, and you were
Mm-hmm.
talking about like you might diet throughout the week, and then on the weekends you like go crazy, and it's kind of that like living for the weekend type of mentality that I feel like a lot of people in the workplace do as well, where
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh my God, I just have to get to Friday. So I kind of want you to speak on that and get your perspective of like, why do people do that, and why do people feel like they cannot like live just during whenever? Like, why can't we just live? And every day is kind of like your life.
I really think that when you said something about all or nothing mindset, that has a lot to do with it, because we have this lack of balance and fulfillment in our daily lives because we're always on one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are just like wanting to push through the week. They're wanting to just have an excuse of, as long as I can make it to the weekend, as long as I can get through restricting for this many days and then I get a cheat meal, or as long as I can put in the work these 40 hours that I have to, I can go and get drunk on Saturday night. It's just these unsatisfying habits that we're holding on to in order to let loose for the weekend.
Yeah.
And there's no balance there.
Yeah.
There is no natural way of existing. It's literally deprivation, which is what I talk about a lot, is like deprivation leads to overindulgence. So,
Yeah.
not eating a lot over the week to going crazy over the weekend. I think it happens in every emotional aspect of our life. If we're deprived in our work, if it's not something we're passionate about, if it's not fulfilling, if we're not introducing hobbies or self care and really nurturing ourselves during the week, we're deprived just in a different sense.
Yeah.
But the weekend, then we're like, okay, that's the time that we can take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
But we need to find a way to stop that like harmful cycle of just like ping ponging back and forth, and we can have this balance and nurture ourselves where it's just like, okay, every day after work, I'm going to take like a 10-minute walk. This is me time. This is something I get to give myself that I look forward to every single day. Or it's a meal that makes me feel satisfied and it's not going to cause me to feel like I do this with chocolate. I have chocolate every single day. I have no shame in it. I love chocolate and I indulge in it every single day because if I don't, then by the weekend, I'm going to have 2 or 3 bars or like the whole Snickers bar that you
Yeah.
were talking about from the grocery.
Yeah.
And if we're doing that with our work, if we're doing that in every aspect of our life and just saying, no, 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 then that one yes is going to go into a crazy gun ho, all or nothing yes, because we know next week we're not going to get it.
And then you feel like shit and you like beat yourself up for the rest of the day because you're like, wow, really shouldn't have done that. And then it's
Mm.
like you have the guilt cycle, and then either you indulge again because you're like, well, already messed up, so might as well keep going now. Start again on Monday. But I don't know. I feel like since leaving my 9 to 5 like corporate job, I I had this like epiphany of like we are so brainwashed
Mm.
into the wait till the weekend, or once we get to the weekend, or the can't wait to get till Friday, or like, oh, it's Monday again. Like we're so brainwashed by the like just the talking of that every single week. And I'm like, what if we just stopped saying those things? Like, would you still actually wait to the weekend to live your life? Would you still like wait to the weekend to cheat if people would stop talking about cheat meals? Or like, what if we just removed these, like, this language from our vocabulary? How would that change the way we actually see it? And I feel like it's just this perpetual cycle because in that culture, it's just thrown at you all the time. Like Monday morning, the first thing you hear when you get on a meeting with your team is, it's Monday again. Like, I don't know. Like, everybody's pissed because it's Monday. I'm like, I fucking love Monday mornings. Like, they're my favorite now. And it's because I stopped listening to all of these people talk about how bad Monday mornings were. And now I'm like, hell yeah, Monday mornings, let's go. And I just realized how much like being around whatever culture it is, whether it's the diet culture or the workplace culture, if you're hearing we do this thing on Monday, or we wait until Friday to have this meal or whatever, like you're going to feel like that's the truth, and it's just
Mm.
not.
The limiting beliefs that
Yeah.
we are made to think is the truth
Mm-hmm.
is so insane. Like looking outside, because I was also in like the corporate world, I there was like an allure of the weekends, just like
Yes.
there is an allure of these foods. Like we're putting everything on these pedestals almost as they're out of reach and we have to work hard for them. And it's supposed to be really difficult to get to them and that we have to earn them. And then there's like those perpetuations of scarcity and urgency and morality and labeling everything to make it where it's right or wrong, it's good or bad, we're allowed to do this, we're not. It's Monday, it's Friday.
Yeah.
Why can't we just enjoy the moment? Or if we can't enjoy this moment, if we're struggling right in this moment, why can't we enjoy the hour in front of us or like the next meal that we're going to? What makes it to where it has to wait?
Right.
What is that serving us? How is that serving us? Like I could not agree more with all everything you just said, and it's just it all I think stems back for we need to reduce the allure of those days being better over every other day of our life because every day is such a gift.
Yeah. Oof. How do we do that? How do we how do we do it?
If I knew, girl, it is one step at a time, truly. Like that one step, 1%, you just slowly have to integrate it.
Yeah,
And I think it goes for any new habit that you're trying to build. Everything like your outlook is a habit.
absolutely. And I feel like had I not had coaches to help me see things differently, I would not be where I am. And I mean, obviously I'm going to plug you. I'm going to plug myself at some point too, but like seriously, like non-biased opinion, or well, it is biased, but it's my unbiased opinion of culture of coaching in general is like it is so life-changing to have somebody there to help you be like, is that true? Like
Mm.
you say something to them and they just kind of like guide you through these questions of like, is that true? Does it have to be that way? Or what if you looked at it this way? Like these mindset shifts that coaches help you through are so life changing. And I feel like that is
Mm.
like the true power of coaching is to just open your mind to a different possibility for your life.
100%. It's just the alternative perspective.
Mhm.
And my coach did the same thing for me. It was she was talking about being on a diet and being on the wagon or off the wagon. And she's like, why do we have to use this language? If
Mhm.
you're off the wagon, why can't you just be like, okay, instead of going back on the wagon, why is it not just, I'm back in my power?
Yeah.
Like, how much more empowering is I'm back in my power than I'm back on the wagon again? Like, it's literally in every single thing that we do and we say to ourselves. And if you don't have another person that's making you aware of it, those subconscious automatic habits and behaviors and that narrative that you've developed, then you're not going to pull yourself out of it. It is so hard to pull back the layer of yourself and really recognize everything that's going on if you don't have someone that's kind of guiding you to see like what you were saying with the limiting beliefs. Is
Yeah.
this true? Is
Yeah.
this really what's happening, or is this how you're seeing what's happening, or how
Mhm.
you've been told to see it?
Yes, exactly. So good. So, so good. Oh my goodness. Also with the like on and off the wagon thing, it's like it still has that connotation of like there's there's a starting point and a stopping point to when you're doing things, or like when you're, I don't know, it's like the work week is from this day to this day, and then like your life is from, this is why I hate like the term work life balance, and I'm kind of
Mm.
off on like a different path right now, but it's like I talk about balance a lot. My podcast is Balance Business Coach. Like I believe in balance, but like the term work life balance is confusing to people because like there is no difference. Like work is part of your life. And
Mm.
so when you talk about like creating balance for your life, you're not creating balance between work over here and your life over here. Like you need to think about work as part of your life, which if you think about it from that perspective, it allows you to think of like, am I satisfied in my workplace? Do I feel energized when I leave, or do I feel completely depleted? Like if you're thinking about it in the term of your, like this is your life that you are living, and like 8 hours a day you're giving your life away to this piece of it, this the
Mm.
work piece of it. There's work, there's fitness, there's family, there's, friends and relationships. Like there's all these pieces to your life, and work is one part of that. So you have to be considerate of the fact that it's not just work Monday through Friday and then life Sunday, Saturday. Like it's all the time is life. We don't like stop living life for those days. We're not going to like get to 87 years old minus all of the work days. Like
Mhm.
we're living for all of those days. I don't know if this is making sense. But the point is, the like on and off the wagon thing still is like, no, like some days we just eat the Snickers bar and like
Mhm.
we're still on the wagon, or we're still like in our power. We still get to like feel powerful even if we're eating something that is considered less healthy than this or is less healthy than that. I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, I actually have a lot to say because I totally understand what you're saying. Mindful eating, especially, is about a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You are not on or off. You're not dieting right now. You're not cutting or building. You're existing. Simply,
Yeah.
you're just existing. You're embracing life. You'll eat when you're hungry. You'll indulge when you want to. You'll satisfy your cravings. You're never deprived. You are living a balanced, moderate, but fulfilling lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you don't have to decide that, okay, I have to eat this certain way on Tuesday so I can have the cake on Saturday because I know I'm going to my kid's birthday party. You
Right.
don't have to worry about those things. And I think that that actually plays a lot into how there's that work life balance of like these 8 hours every day, you are literally giving up so much of the other values in your life to be focused on work. And so many of us say we have to work or we have to diet. And you don't have to. You could be on the streets. You could be living at a lower means than you are right now. You are choosing to work to sustain your lifestyle. People are choosing to diet to sustain this lifestyle, but they don't realize that there's another alternative.
Yeah.
You don't have to see it as this way of force, this negative label on it. When you're eating, you can eat for enjoyment and still maintain your goals. Actually, 80 to 90% of people who diet or try to diet long term, they'll regain most, if not all, of their weight back.
That's
And I
incredible.
bet there's right. And I bet there's a similar statistic for people who are working who aren't enjoying their work, who
Yeah.
don't have a passion, who aren't fulfilled. And I think that's why burnout happens so much and why I talked about it earlier, how there's so much turnover in social work because people are not embracing or able to live for the moment. They're just, I can do this short term, I can make it work. And then they break down. And then they're like, okay, I have to start over and figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made sense because I felt like I was going off on something too,
No.
but it all just, oh my gosh, it all just goes back hand in hand, really, in the fact of how we label things, how our mindset decides what's important, what's not important, and how we signify this, like with the Snickers bar, how you were talking about earlier, how that's like probably a really good memory with your mom.
Yeah.
That's something that could light you up, make you smile, make you feel good, but you don't have to have the Snickers bar in order to feel like that. You can still have that memory. I think that work should be similar to that. Like you can have these moments of the weekends that still make you feel pleasure. You don't have to have them consistently every single time, but it's the exact opposite. You don't have to be restricting and hating your life and then only enjoy things on the weekends. Like it can be a balance.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I posted something yesterday about like why do you keep ignoring your morning routine? Like
Mm.
you don't miss your meetings with Greg and the team on Monday mornings every single week, but you're missing your meeting with yourself daily. Like you keep postponing it, you keep putting it off. And um where was I going with this? Oh, having like a morning routine, an evening routine, or just something that you do for yourself every day that gives you that like understanding of, or just like a reminder to yourself of like, I get to feel this way every day of the week. I don't
Mm.
have to wait to the weekend. Like taking that small step is the piece that like starts to switch your mind and like realizing, oh, like I can live differently. And the same thing with what you do. Like, even if it's just one meal a day that you're like, I'm going to just pay attention to what my body's saying, or I don't know, maybe you could speak more to like how somebody could integrate this in a small way every single day or like throughout their week so that they're not feeling so like restrictive Monday through Friday and then binge on the weekends or whatever. But I feel like if we start with that small little piece, it starts to make our brain question like, is everything I've been reading and seeing and believing actually true?
Hmm. And it is all about the small pieces, the small steps, because it's overwhelming
Yeah.
trying to just switch up your mindset to shift from this thing that you've become so accustomed to exploring other outlooks. And so there I actually have this free beginner's guide to mindful eating that's sitting on my website and all of my social media platforms, and it allows you to review like a hunger diary, a food mood journal, the art of tuning into hunger so that you can pick what step works best for you,
Yeah.
and you can begin to implement that into your day. Like just the hunger diary, and just you don't track what you're eating, but you can just see what patterns you have before you're eating. So if you could wake up and just say, do I already feel hungry? Because so many of us are like, I have to eat right when I wake up if I want energy throughout the day. Sometimes we're dehydrated and we need water,
Right.
and that can get missed. It can just feel like hunger. And it's just such a simple like check-in with ourselves that you were talking about with your morning routine, just waking up, brushing your teeth. Okay, like what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I craving today? Like, did I get my water in yet? Maybe I should go have a glass and then reconsider if I'm hungry.
Yeah. I'm smiling and laughing because have you seen that interview? It's like trending with the girl who's like, I think I'm pregnant. I'm craving things that I don't normally crave.
When was the last time that you had a period? You don't remember. Okay.
There could be a slight chance I might be pregnant now.
Really? And why do you say that?
I've been craving weird things that I'm not,
Normally craving,
yeah,
and now you crave it.
like
Well,
water.
some of it
I'm
could
craving
be.
water.
Yeah.
Bitch, you ain't pregnant, you're thirsty. You're just thirsty, bitch. Go drink you some water. You'll be alright.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
this.
I have not seen that, but oh my gosh, that is amazing.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Okay, well, I am going to let us wrap this up so that you can get back to your day. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I think I could keep going because this is just so interesting to me, and you are so knowledgeable and insightful. So one, I really appreciate you being here and sharing everything with us today. I will absolutely put the freebie and all of the ways to connect with you down below, but if you could just let people know like a little bit about what your offer is, like how they can work with you, how to find you, all of that. And then we can close it out.
Yes. So, first off, I do want to thank you so much for this because this was so enjoyable, not just to talk about business and what we're passionate about, but I just feel like we have very good energy, very similar energy. So, it's just really fun to be able to hang out with someone who's like minded personally and professionally.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for having me because I could absolutely talk up a storm. I could keep going. But just like looking at the things that I offer right now, my freebie is the best way to just kind of get to know mindful eating without having a lot of the stress that comes with it, because this can be really scary to consider because it doesn't seem tangible, it doesn't seem quantifiable, it doesn't seem realistic. So for people who are just like, I really don't believe you, grab that first because that's going to show you just how intricate it really can get and how much change you can implement just from something so minor.
Yeah.
And working with me, I previously had a 6-week course that was up on my website, but that was for a case study. So normally and right now, I do 12 weeks or more for my coaching, my one-on-one coaching. And it's all about believing that sustainable real life change is possible. And I work to get to the root cause behind your eating behaviors and your perception of food, and help you decrease that mental load, that mental exhaustion that you have, that you're giving to food 24/7 when you could be tuning into something that you value more, like being a parent or work or a hobby that you enjoy. And it's really intensive. It can be really scary for people because this is emotional stuff that they don't really want to touch or have ever touched in their brains before. But I think that real, authentic, sustainable, dependable change comes from tuning into yourself, learning how to trust yourself, and getting that confidence back. So you can find my program on my website, and it's Kiley's Health Haven LLC.com. And then you can also access me through any of my social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, to find my links. So you will be able to find my website if you don't know how to spell my name.
Awesome. Yay! You are the best. I'm so glad we did this. Thank you so much. And yeah, I will put all of the stuff on how to reach you down below so that people can definitely get that freebie. If you guys don't get that freebie, you're in trouble. I'm just kidding. But seriously, like, go grab the freebie. I'm going to grab the freebie right now. So
Oh, I'm so excited. Let me know what you think.
I will let you know for sure. And maybe I will even like have my son do it with me. Like, we'll come up
I
with it
would love
together.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that'd be super cute because I listened to your podcast with your son where he was kind of like running the show. I was like, oh my God, that's so precious. And
Okay,
it,
so you get it. Like,
I absolutely get it. My best friend has a 7-year-old and she's like mine, and she would absolutely want to do something like that
yeah,
with me.
love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I mean, maybe when I get to Washington, we will do something in person. That would be fun.
Yes, that would be so much fun. I would love that.
All right. Well, have a good rest of your day and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Okay, you guys, I just wrapped up my interview with Kiley. It was such an enjoyable interview for me to do. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed being a part of it. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to it. If you have any questions for Kiley, I have dropped all of the information on how to reach her down below in the show notes. And as always, if I can be of any support for any of your burnout, toxic workplace culture, leadership development needs, I am absolutely here for you to help. All of the information on how to get in contact with me and how to work with me is also down below. Thank you guys so much for being here. As always, we really appreciate you for tuning in and being along for both of our journeys. And until next time, take care.